Welcome back to the When Words Don't Come Easy podcast. My name is Andy Howard, and I am so glad that you are here today, that you joined us. It's always a blessing for as many people as I can share hope with and share inspiration with. That's what this whole podcast is about. And today is special. Today, I'm joined by my family. I was going to say my favorite guest, but it's true. I'm joined by my family, Tiffany, but not just Tiffany. You're going to get to meet the twins, Parker and Presley. And let me tell you, that was not easy getting them to come on here, but they did that for me. And well, maybe a slight bribe as well to get them on here. Actually, they're passionate about what we're doing. And we're reflecting back on our trip to Zambia and getting to help the kiddos. And so you're going to hear it straight from them right after this. We will actually start off with Parker first. So stick around to the end. I will even give you a chance to be a part of this great mission. But all that and more happens right after this. What's up, everybody? I told you I had some special guests lined up today. Here we go. This is my daughter, Parker Howard. And I'm going to go ahead and be honest with you. We're probably going to laugh a little bit here because she's been laughing this whole time. This is take 39. And I even called her Zumba a minute ago. So we had to edit that out. But here we are. No more edits. This is live, real, and uncut. So hope you like this. So the reason I called you Zumba, we're going to move back. Shows how much Dad was paying attention. You just finished a production. You were in The Lion King. That's pretty cool. You did The Lion King in Dallas here, you and your sister, and you were actually Pumbaa, not Zumba. What was that like getting to play Mr. Pumbaa?
It was fun.
It was fun. All that for it was fun. It was fun. It was fun getting to see you up there. It looked like you had a lot of good chemistry with some of your friends on the production. And what was your favorite part about just getting to be in a live play and playing a character like that?
Just meeting a ton of new friends.
Yeah. Well, it has been a very busy summer for us. And the reason why we're here today, I wanted to talk about our trip to Zambia. And I think that's why I called you Zumba earlier, because of Zambia. But for those who don't know, Zambia is a country in Africa. And so we wanted to touch on a few of these memories to reflect on how awesome it was. It was one of my favorite experiences of my life, just not only getting to go by myself, but getting to experience it with my family, getting to watch your joy and getting to watch you overcome some hurdles and fears of your own doing that and leading your own group of kids. It was just really fun to watch. But I do want to ask you, what surprised you the most about getting to serve in Zambia?
It was fun. I was scared earlier because I had to do boys and I had to do my own group. Yeah. So that was scary. But once I did it, it was fun because I have a ton of little 5-year-olds.
Yeah, and they all looked up to you and respected you. Just to let you guys in behind the curtain a little bit, what was going on when we went there, we went in our mind thinking we were a family serving a group of 10. And the night before, as we're getting set up to start the week, they're telling us how it's going to work. And they're like, Andy, you'll have your 10. And Tiff, you'll have your 10. Parker, you'll have your 10. And we were like, what? And then not only that, but you were leading a group of boys. And you were so nervous. But I was so proud of you and how you overcame that all the way to the end. What was your favorite memory of the week?
So there's this thing, Crazy Tuesday. So every Tuesday if it's your birthday in the past week, you get to throw water. So water at somebody, and at the very end, our group, it was Emmanuel's birthday, and we had to throw water at him, but he didn't know it. So we had a ton of big buckets of water, so he was soaked.
That is awesome. It's culture there for the way they celebrate birthdays is I don't know why. I didn't get the meaning behind it. I did pick up on every time it was someone's birthday, you would see them walking around wet. So they get dumped water on. It's just a fun thing. Maybe we should start that here for y'all's birthday. No? Okay. Well, I do want to ask you to share a story about one of the children there that you will never forget.
So there's this little boy. He's 5 years old, and his name is David. And he's just really precious, and he's so cute and tiny. And I didn't really get to see his mom, but because I don't know if he has one or not. Yeah. but they never really opened up that much to me. Yeah.
And David, it is true with him being 5, but over there, because they are so malnourished, they don't get to eat. And sometimes there's no guarantee that they have a meal for the day. So that's why this is so important to us. But because of that, the 5-year-olds there look more like, I guess, 3-year-olds over here. So they just look so much more tinier and just small. Let me ask, what did you learn about yourself while serving?
That we get a lot, and over there I never really knew how bad it was until now. It's like they don't have food or water.
Yeah. Yeah, we are blessed. And no matter where you're at here in the States, you're blessed. And it was something I didn't realize, even knowing how blessed we all are. But even when you start asking about what's the water situation like in your home, and they're like, well, not everyone's guaranteed to even have water. Some of them would have to go get a bucket of water. Hopefully their friend or their neighbor has water. So it's just, we take so many things for granted here. And it is true. It was so good. What do you want someone who is considering being a sponsor to know?
That you're guaranteed saving a life because they get a fresh hot meal every day, and then you get to go to school. In Zambia, it's not like America because all the kids want to go to school.
Yeah.
They want to learn.
Yeah. Not only they learn that an opportunity to learn, an opportunity to for all the stuff that comes with education, but also, I mean, just guaranteeing food because they're guaranteed to get a nice meal at school. And then some of them, it's safer at school than being at home. So it's just very dangerous where they are in their communities. So very cool. Well, thank you for your time here, Park. Anything you'd like to share with the people before you leave today? That's all, folks. We'll talk to you soon with another guest here. All right, here's special guest number 2. It's my other daughter. Yeah, that's her. She is not shy. She's very outgoing. She's kind of like her mama in that respect. This is Miss Presley. How are you, baby?
Good.
Well, now she's getting shy. She makes faces, but we want you to eat that microphone. Be nice and loud for me. So tell me this. You had a very, very busy summer. So you were in actually 2 productions. You were in the Aristocats production. Tell me how that went first, because that was your very first production to do. What did you think about that one?
Well, first I thought it'd be really scary because I haven't actually ever been spotlighted, having the spotlight and saying lines in front of a lot of people. But it was actually really fun.
Well, you did so good. And then to end the summer, you were in The Lion King. You were Nola. For those, is that how you say it?
Nala.
Nala. Man, Dad sucks at this. So you were Nala. I thought you were Nola, but I still loved you anyway. I was like, that's my Nola. People kept staring at me. Well, that's the girlfriend to, what's his name?
Simba.
Simba. Yeah, so you had a very big role in this thing. It's a big deal. I was proud of you. So what did you think about that?
I didn't really like what I had to do, but I don't know. It was fun. I don't know. I got to scream my head off and have fun, I guess.
Well, there was one part where y'all were kind of doing this circle dance thing, but your hands were about 10 foot apart. It wasn't that close, but I know you were nervous about that just because it was a boy. But don't worry, I'd already gave him the Howard stare beforehand, so he knew not to get any closer. So, anyways, I am so proud of you. We are talking about the trip back to Zambia, and it was just an amazing, probably one of the coolest things I've ever got to be a part of. Wanted to hear your perspective on it and just share with us what surprised you most about getting to serve in Zambia.
What surprised me was definitely how outgoing some of the girls were. They warned me that they weren't gonna come out if they didn't know you. I don't know if I did something or I don't know. They just all of them pretty much came out and just told us what they needed prayer for and stuff.
Well, I think you just have a natural way of making people feel comfortable. And I was watching how you were interacting with the kids. It was, as a dad, it made me just happy to see you like that. And so anyways, we're moving on to question number 2. What was your favorite memory?
Well, every morning when the kids would come off the bus, they would give you the biggest hugs, like it was the first time seeing you in a year.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's just I don't think I've ever gotten a big hug of like 10 kids coming up and trying to basically push you down.
Knock you down. Yeah, it was
I almost fell down. I'm just gonna say that.
it was special. They made you feel very special, and you're trying to explain to them that we're just normal people. And but they were so grateful for you coming over there. And so every time, you're right, every morning when they would pull up off the bus, they would just not just give you a hug, they would run to you and almost knock you over. That's so cool. Well, why don't you share a story about one of the kids that you will never forget?
There was this one girl, and her name was Jane, and I could tell like all of the kids couldn't really pronounce my name. I think it was like the R, and they all like kind of like were talking to my translator, and we're like coming together, and I was so confused. And I finally asked her what they were doing, and they said that it was Jane's idea to rename me in a Zambia name. And that was Auntie Chikandi, but there
And what's that mean?
Auntie Love.
That's awesome. Auntie Love.
There's this one time and she was yelling at me like, Auntie Chikandi, come here, come here. And we bought them Barbie dolls and to play with when we were there. And she came and she was like calling me over and I was so confused like someone got hurt, but she was like so eager and she just wanted to play with me. And like here it was like a Barbie doll and she's 13 years old and here you wouldn't really get, I'm 10, so I'm like 3 years younger than her, and you won't really catch like an older girl if they're not related to you in a way playing with somebody. And it was the whole week she wanted to play something and I didn't mind, but I just never have like Parker, there's no way she's gonna want to play with me in any way.
Wow.
So
we're gonna have to bring Parker back to defend herself later for sure. Well, it was special getting to see the kids react, and some of those kids have never seen a Barbie doll before, so that was very fun for them. What did you learn most about yourself while getting to serve?
I didn't really get knowing, like I knew I loved teaching kids and like hanging around and like teaching them and stuff, but I never really got until I actually did it how much fun it is to like do like church camp and dance with the kids and run around. So I never thought that I would love doing that as much as I did.
You can be honest because it's just you and me here, but I was the best dancer there. Right?
Yeah, sure. You're amazing.
It's not what you said at the place, but I forgive you. But yeah, you was not proud of my dance.
No, I really wasn't. And I could see him. I was looking over the line.
Hey, I was proud of myself. I tried hard. I will ask you the same question that we finished with Parker with. And there are a lot that may be considering sponsoring a kid. What would you tell them that they need to know to help them sponsor a kid? What's the big difference there?
If you meet the kid in person, if you meet them online, send them messages, that kid will never forget you and you will never forget that kid.
Yeah. It's very special in that getting to make an impact on these kids. And what was hard was when it was Friday, they call it the day when the Americans cry. And they're right. It's so emotional because you spent that whole week and you're exhausted, but it's a good exhaustion. Anyways, when it's time to say goodbye for the last time, it's hard, isn't it? Yeah. But we'll see them again. We're going back next year and hopefully taking some more people with us. We really want to impact these sweet kiddos and their families. Well, Presley, thank you so much for your time. Do you have any closing words you want to leave with the people?
No.
All right, y'all. So we're wrapping up this special trip, special reflection back to Zambia. Brought in the big guns now. It's Miss Tiff. And she got to hear the kiddos. What do you think about the girls?
It was great. I will say, and we're going to talk about a lot of things, but watching our girls do this was truly the best experience of our lives. I mean, even if it was just us going, I would have said that, but seeing our girls, like to watch Parker, and I know she shared when she found out she was getting her own group. I mean, she melted into the floor and had this like,
It was a meltdown the night before.
Oh.
Nobody.
she just was so scared. I mean, these were boys and she was so scared. And we knew, and we prayed and we told her like God orchestrated this. It was going to be for the best. And I will say that by the end of it, like literally the last 2 nights, they bawled themselves to
Because
sleep.
they didn't want to leave the
They didn't
kids. So
wanna
it
leave.
completely flipped by the end of the week. And I was so proud of her as well. And she's just between the two, she's naturally a little more shy. And she really did well. So I was so proud of her overcoming a huge obstacle.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you the same questions I asked the girls and just get your insight on all this. But what surprised you most about getting to serve in Zambia?
Gosh, that's such a hard question. You know, I knew going it would be life changing. I've done mission trips in Mexico. It's been a long time, but I have seen, you know, how others live. But I will tell you, going to Zambia, I've never experienced anything like that. Like any mission trip I've ever went on, the poverty level that we experienced in Africa, it's like, you know, these things exist. And honestly, this is why we're doing this podcast. Because you hear that these things exist, but when you look these children eye to eye and you know that they have not eaten, some of them literally the most they get is 1 meal.
So for me, and I don't know that it's something I learned from serving there, but what really hit me just right off the bat was the first day they talked about how these kids most of them won't even get to eat unless they have lunch here. And so I was excited to, get to serve them lunch and see how their eyes lit up. Well, their eyes did light up. It was all the same, but it was very hard because their lunch there, and it's for lots of reasons. We could explain that, but
we probably should, so they understand.
4 pieces of bread. And so these are a lot of kids who aren't used to even getting to eat. So they got 4 pieces of bread. I had made me a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and we ate those every day. That's just what they served there. And it's totally fine.
Well, and so the kids didn't see
even there doing that, you're thinking, oh, I'm having PB and J today. And then you see the kids just eating 4 pieces of bread. I didn't want to eat my PB and J in front of them. And so with that said, though, but most of those kids' stomachs can't handle fats, sugars, all the different things, protein. They're not ready for it. And they do have a drink, though. It's I don't know how you would describe it.
It's like a buttermilk drink, and they love it, but it's full of nutrition.
Yeah, but it was more nutritious for them. So, and they would have that and the bread. But as they get better, what you are sponsoring will help them get more, nutritional type foods as they get into the school. But just on the first day, that really shocked me.
It was really hard. And they did explain, it's not that they only want to give bread. They used to, when they started the camp years and years ago, they would give them like chicken and rice. And these kids would literally end up in like the medic clinic because their bodies could not handle it. Because most of these children, the only thing they eat, most of them, it's once a day, and it's called shima. And it's like our grits. They actually served it to us to try, but it's literally cornmeal and water, and there's no flavor. And that's all they eat. So their bodies can't handle anything else. So that was super hard for sure.
Well, what was your favorite memory of the week?
Well, my children are only going to give you one, but I'm going to give you a lot. I talk a lot. But just the entire experience, I think walking in, even as an adult, the first day, we knew the kids, we could see them, the buses were coming in and they were all lined up and we were walking towards them. And when they saw us, I mean, just not even knowing us yet, like they just latched on and they literally almost knocked me over. Because they're so excited. And this is like, for them, this is the biggest thing they'll probably ever do in their life. So this is like winning the lottery to get to come to this camp. Yeah. They know about these camps, but they get hand chosen to come based on how bad their family situations are. So we knew that these are the worst of the worst. And we actually had one of the poorest communities, we were all very lucky that all of our kids came from the same community, but it's the highest crime rate community in the area. These children are scared to sleep, but just to see their excitement and just to see their joy, even in the midst of living in the hardest circumstances, they don't know any different. And so to watch them, I mean, I just pulled up my videos of them and like to see them worship and just to jump and like we would sit there for teaching and they would just hold our arms. Like they were just so happy to play. And when we brought out the little toys we had, I mean, a ball, like their eyes lit up because they don't have these things. So it was definitely the joy watching them be so happy.
It was very incredible for me. And I shared this on another podcast before. So if you happen to heard it before, that's where it came from. But there was a song called the Freedom Song. And I'll be honest, I know my girls were giving me a hard time, but
You rocked it.
I was very nervous. Talk about Parker being scared. Like the very first day we went for our meetings, I don't meet new people. I don't. So I guess that's where Parker gets it. But I had to meet our two partners. That's what they called them. They were the ones that would help translate because not all the kids speak English. Most, I'd say about 50-50 do maybe.
We'll explain that more in a minute.
But the ones that get to go to school or have ever been to school before do learn English. And so some do and some don't. But anyways, with that, I had to meet two strangers right away. And then they're starting teaching us these like kids dance moves, like if you've ever been to kids camp or anything like that. And I did not really want to do that. Didn't feel comfortable, but I promised these kids, that's what I prayed through. I was like, I'm going to give them everything I had. So I did. I may not have been the best dancer there, but I tried my best. I will say that. And they did. They loved it. And so this song, and it's in the middle of, well, it's their winter, but it's still very warm there. Very
80s. But 80s felt really hot there.
The sun just felt like it was beating down on you. And so anyways, we are doing this song. I'm giving it everything I have. And I was like, if it can just end. Anyways, I was like, if this song does not end, I am going to pass out. Well, sure enough, the little camp, the coordinator guys, what are the, like the dream team guys, whatever they're like, one more time. And they did it again. And so we had to do it all over again. But it felt like a little piece of heaven. All these little kids screaming at the top of their lungs, praising Jesus and celebrating. And that's what I love the most. But what's next for you? What would you say for someone who might be on the fence on if they should sponsor a kid? Maybe this is their first time to hear about sponsoring a kid. What does sponsoring a kid mean? What's it do?
Yeah, so the ministry that we partnered with is an incredible, I mean, it's an absolutely incredible ministry. Like I can't even describe what they do. But basically, you know, children in Africa, most of them have no food. They have no education. For them to go to a government school in Africa, it actually costs money, which is insane because these people have no money. And as we drove through their communities.
Or they would even explain that some of the people use their kids to watch other kids.
Yeah.
So these kids might be 5 or 6 years old, but they're watching a baby. And so they can't afford not to have them home.
Kids,
so they don't want them to go to school either. So there's lots of reasons that prevent it. But
yeah, we took time we were so blessed to get to drive through their communities, and you would literally see like 5-year-old girls or boys with babies strapped on their back. And pretty much like even in my group, I had 10 girls and none of them had a working parent in the home, not one. Most of them lived with caregivers because the majority of these children are orphans or double orphans, meaning they've lost one or both of their parents to HIV. And so it's so bad. And the kids that were in the camp, they have checked to make sure that if someone sponsors them, they would be able to go to school. So yes, there are some that their parents don't want them to go, but these children, they want them to go. And here's the thing, guys, when we got to do a church service where we invited their guardians to come, and that was probably the best day for me because as I would sit and hold these women's hand, and actually 3 women in our group came to know Jesus that day. But as I would hold their hands and say, well, how can I pray for you? And every single one is that my child would get sponsored to get fed every day and to go to school to have a better life. Because in Africa, these children do not know English unless they go to school. And the only way they can get jobs is to have graduated school and to speak English. So these parents know if my child doesn't go, they will never get a better life. And so with sponsorship, you're sending a child to school, and the schools that Family Legacy has created are phenomenal. We toured 2 of the schools. There's a school in every community, and they're getting incredible education by teachers who truly care. They get fed a really nutritious meal that it's packed with protein and carbs and fat. So it's not just bread. They're teaching their bodies how to get more food. And then they actually will get to take food home to their other siblings and to their parents. And so they're getting school, they're getting food. They actually get access to medical care. They have medical care for these children. They shared a statistic with us, or a stat, that kids will die over 50 cents. Like it could be that a parent needs to get their child to a hospital, but over a 50-cent taxi ride, the child will die because they don't even have 50 cents. And so they're getting access to medical care. And guys, like, I can't implore you enough, like, until we saw what we saw, until you look in their eyes. And that's why we're doing this Zoom, because we want you to get a glimpse of what we've seen.
Yeah.
These are God's children. And as we would sit and do these worship services, oh Lord, you would see these are God's children that he died for and he loves so much. And he is allowing us to be their hands and feet. And I want to say this. I know so many times people will say, yes, but in America, there's so many people that are hurting. And I believe that. And I want to be Jesus' hands and feet here. But here's the difference that we noticed. And please hear me. We know people are hurting here. But in the United States of America, there is access. There are homeless shelters. There is a therapist. And there are ways that people can get help. No, it's not perfect. We know that. But in Africa, there is literally no other option besides us. Yeah. And so with us, we want to share this. We sponsored every child in all 4 of our groups. We made the commitment to 40 students that we will put them through school. And then we'll
actually picked up a couple more. There was 2 from the Tree of Life is what they call it.
Yeah, Tree of Life. So the short version of Tree of Life, it's like an orphanage for children in these communities that have no one. The Family Legacies desires to keep families together, but a lot of these children are in broken homes. The stories of abuse I had to take 2 of our children to what was considered like Africa CPS, because the stories they were telling me of the homes they were living in. So it's not safe. They have a community, an orphanage with what had over 500 children in it. Yeah. And we got to go and see these children thriving, eating 3 meals a day. And we personally sponsored 2 of the children from there that we met. And so that is an option too, to sponsor Tree of Life kids. They are more expensive because they're getting schooling, lodging, 3 meals,
room and board, and just all of it. Well, I don't know if you can pick one, but can you share a story of a moment with one of your favorite kids that you'll never forget?
It's hard because I look at their little faces, and I think 3 of them came to know Jesus, which was so powerful, but it's hard to pick one because I truly loved all of them. They were all so precious. And we did something called Relation Station, where we got to take each one of our kids separately and sit down and get to know them and hear their stories. And I can't even begin to tell you, out of my 10 girls, almost all of them none of them had a dad present in their life, whether they lost him to AIDS or he left. Because a lot of these dads will abandon their families because they can't take care of them. They don't have jobs. And so they'll leave. And so many of them living with caregivers that didn't even really want them, but really didn't have a choice. I had one little girl who told me she wanted to go to school because her mom would make her leave every day because her mom, I think, was mentally not stable. And so her mom didn't want her in the home. So she was 6 years old, y'all, and she would send her away. And I would say, where did you go? And she would say, I would just go to a friend's house. And kids telling me they were scared in their homes because they lived in the highest crime community. We were driving through the community and the bus was so hot. And so we had the doors, like the windows open, and the bus, that they called them the partners, which were our translators, passed us, and they stopped at a light, and they were freaking out, screaming at us to shut the windows because they said people would literally come through the windows to steal from us. That's how unsafe it is. And so just knowing that we can make a difference in that, I don't know anything that is more like Jesus. Like, that's what Jesus wants us to be. And I don't know why we're all blessed to live in America. Like, I don't know why we're chose to live here and they live there. We're in a fallen world, but as long as we know Jesus and have the resources, how could we not help? For literally around $40 a month, it could radically change a child's life. And I don't know about you, but I spend $40 a month on coffee. Like, I can give up my coffee if I have to. And now in our family, like, every time we think of something we want, or our kids do, even our children will go, yeah, but whatever the cost of that is, that could pay for another child in Africa. Yeah. Like, that's how committed we are. And not only are we imploring you to sponsor, our goal is 100 children sponsored just this year. They even called us yesterday and left a message, and they said, wow, we didn't know you were going to sponsor a small community. Like, because we didn't tell them, but we came home and said, we're going to sponsor all of them. And I want to go back next year and get 40 more kids and sponsor them too.
That's what I wanted to say. There's a chance. Just reach out to me. You want some information. If you want to go next year, I can tell you how to get plugged in. It changed our family's life forever. But you can start sponsoring kids today, and they would be in your group next year. So you would actually get to meet them next year. It was a powerful just a powerful week that there's no, you can't put words in. It's kind of like taking a picture of a sunset and then trying to explain how beautiful the sunset was to someone who wasn't there. If you're not there, you don't understand. You just don't, because you try to, and it's not your fault. You just can't see the big picture until you're there. It was a powerful, powerful week. And these kids moved me. For me, I had went into it amped up and ready because I thought, in my own mind's eye, I picture them being so just sad and depressed. And I thought, I'm going to have to pump these kids up and try to encourage them. But they were so happy. And it's because they didn't know what they don't know. They didn't know what they're missing. They were grateful for when they got their bread. Even when I felt bad about giving them 4 pieces of bread. I'm like, this isn't, they were grateful. They were so excited for it.
And tell them not only the bread, but one thing was every morning they would get an apple and every afternoon they would get an orange. Yeah. And they would get so excited over the apple. And I remember one of our little girls dropped it and she didn't care. I mean, she picked it and she was starting to eat it dirty. And I was like, no, let me wash it off. And the partner said, do you know why they're so excited over that? And I was like, no, I mean, I just thought it's food. And they said, do you realize these children never get fruit? The only time kids get fruit in Africa is if they're in the hospital and someone brings it, like we would bring flowers. So for them to get fruit, it was like the greatest thing in the world. God, you know how hard it is to get one of us to eat fruit? Like we can get fruit anytime. It's just crazy.
Well, it really was special. In closing, is there anything on your heart that you just want to end with? Any memory, any story, or have you got everything out?
Yeah. Best experience our family's ever had. And we are committed to going back every year. Like there's that, if we can only have one trip a year, it would be Africa. Like I want to die knowing I made a difference in this world. And there's ways to do that for sure. But if we can be God's hands and feet to his own children, because the truth is a lot of these kids don't know what love is. I mean, a lot of these children are double orphaned. They don't know what love is. They're being raised by aunts that don't really even care about them, some of them, because in some of these aunts they can't feed them. So they don't know what it's like to have someone wrap their arms around them and to feel loved. And Jesus loves these kids so much. And like, we can be that love to them. We can show them Jesus through our giving. And what's great is when you sponsor a child, not only are you sending them to school, not only are you getting food, you actually will get letters from these kids. Once our kids start school in December, we will get letters from all 40 of our kids. And then like Andy said, if you go back, you get your same kids in your group. So you get to have a relationship with them. It's not just some face on a card, you know?
Well, I'll be honest, no pressure here. I told the dude when I left that next year we're going to have like just Howard week. And he thought I was joking, which I kind of winked at him, but I am very serious that I would love for all of my friends and whoever may just be stumbling on this podcast. If you're listening, you're a friend of mine. I would love for us to go and have that whole camp just to ourselves to be able to bless some kids and to pour our hearts into them. But thank you guys so much for listening. I hope you will pray about this and just know this is good soil.
Yeah, 100%.
So I would never tell someone to invest in a person or a project that's not good soil. In fact, I have talked to Mario. I guess he called him the CEO.
Yeah, he's over. He created it.
Of a Family Legacy. And he is going to come do a podcast for me. So I'm going to have him on soon. So you'll get to hear from him. But this is good soil. So how do you sponsor? There is going to be a link in this podcast. And we will also post it on my stories, on my Facebook. There's a link of how to sponsor. If you could tell them, is there a spot to say with Andy?
No, but they can email you it. What is your email? And then
at info@andyhoward.com.
Email us if you sponsor a child, because we really want to track who's sponsoring, because we are determined to get to our goal of 100 children.
Yes. And again, I had said this in the past, if you'd like a signed book, I would be more than honored to do that. And I will sign a book and send it to you if you sponsor a kid, or if you talk to someone else into sponsoring a kid, send it to info@andyhoward.com. Hey, thank you guys so much.
Bye, guys.
Wow, wasn't that so good? I hope it came across the way we tried to convey it, the stories, the memories. I hope it was as moving to you the way we experienced it. It's very hard. I hope you felt the rawness of Tiffany's tears, even 6 weeks after, since we've been, maybe longer than that, since we went. But we are moved to help these kids, and it's just so special to us. And I pray that you will join the mission with us, that you would join on board with us, how you can help. Even if you can't, man, We completely understand. I would never ask anyone to do something that they cannot do. And I'm praying for you. If you're not in a spot right now where you're financially able to help, I'm praying for you. And God understands. I get that a lot. It makes me feel bad when I send out the messages. I do get a lot of requests saying, man, I can't even do it. And it's not to make you feel bad. I hope you understand that this is for those who can. There are people out there who can help. And that's who I'm praying God will reach. And even if you can't help today, maybe one day you will be able to help. So just hold on to that. But just know that our heart is with helping these kiddos. So if you want to get on board with that and you need more info, again, come to info@andyhoward.com and I will help you with a direct link. The link will also be on the show notes of this podcast. But also let me know if you did choose to adopt a kiddo, because unfortunately there's no way on our end, and it doesn't matter. Just me personally, I wanted to hit 100 kids. That's what God laid on my heart, but it doesn't matter as long as they're getting help. But at the same time, it's fun seeing all the people sponsor. So if you did sponsor someone, let me know. Shoot me a email there at info@andyhoward.com, and I will send you a signed book as well, just because it's a small token, but hope it will bless you. If you want to find the book and you hadn't got it yet, it's at andyhoward.com. You can get it on Amazon as well. You can get it on Audible or even on Kindle. I thank you guys so much for listening, and please share this with somebody who you feel like it'll be a blessing to. God bless everybody.